Something's gone wrong in America. Have you noticed? You know, we have the greatest country in the world and the greatest potential in the world right here in America, and yet we have this uneasiness within us that says something's wrong. How did we get here? My parents' generation, under the blessing of God, allowed prayer to be taken out of our schools, allowed the Bible to be taken out of our schools, allowed the 10 Commandments to be taken out of every public building in America. So you know what my generation did? We ushered in the greatest revolution of abandonment. Divorce in my generation went up to 70%. We ushered in the sexual revolution, and we saw the collapse of a generation. And see the tragedy that's going on in homes, in our schools, and in our communities. In the midst of this tragedy, the wonderful things are happening. God is still moving. The gospel is still the power of God unto salvation. But we're in the middle of a national chaotic tragedy. And very honestly, the kids I've worked with as a youth pastor for 27 years, and in the last 11 years I've been working with First Priority full-time and traveling across the country, and I'm telling you, we have some dynamic young Christians in America, and it's because of the persecution they had to face in America as Christians. I love Jesus, but the church should make a difference. The church is now the body of Christ. And we need to be the body of Christ and do what Jesus did. And He got out there where people were, went out and gave His life to redeem the world. And He says, now go and do likewise. And all these kids that are doing this and being sexually immoral, trying to find love somewhere, all they're doing is looking for Jesus. In other words, that emptiness in them, they're just looking for Jesus. They just don't know it's Him. So they're filling it with whatever they can find. How are we going to reach every kid in this city? How are we going to turn this thing around? How are we going to reach a generation? And so we began to develop a ministry strategy that all the churches could work together on to reach the next generation. And we had a school application. We began to do ministry outreach into the schools through student-led initiatives, which became First Priority Clubs. When you hear about First Priority in the schools, all that is, it's a strategy for churches to link together in the community and network their Christian kids in the school to say, you need to encourage one another and hold each other up and hold each other accountable and be the body of Christ at school. How can you share Christ with your friends at school? How can you share Christ with your whole school? Listen, we serve a great God. The gospel is advancing around the world in ways it never has before. God is still in control. But if the church in America doesn't get its act together, we're going to lose a generation of our kids and possibly lose the blessing of God as a nation. And we've got to do it in our homes. We've got to do it in our schools. We've got to do it in our communities. And it can't just happen inside this building. And let me tell you, Jesus is still the answer. And we've got to take Jesus to the world.